Right, we're back. Oh, not up. So things seem to be going pretty well with the budget. Yeah, we'll invest more and more into science. Got a lot of physical and civic points now, so should be able to get through a lot of this fairly quickly. I don't like that order. It's inconsistent with the order in the images in the text screen. Oh well. Let's get going. Members of the Grand Duke. The members of Grand Duke Alexander Mikhaelovich Romanov, uncle of Nicholas II, published in the 30s, recount his life during the Revolution, Civil War, and after. In them, he pragmatically and patriotically analyzes the situation, concluding that Lenin and the Bolsheviks saved Russia from partition and becoming a Western colony, convincingly details the actions of white leaders and their allies, and realistically asserting that Russia had no chance of remaining sovereign without the Bolsheviks. I actually honestly doubt it. The whites might have been able to remain sovereign, though to the degree of which is questionable. And the various peasant and anarchist movements would have absolutely managed to do that. I mean, I've said this before and I'll say it again. I don't think I need to make it known my exact opinion on Lenin, since it kind of bleeds through a lot through here. So, strangely, okay. The members end with his admission of sympathy for the Bolsheviks after so many years, despite the fact that they executed 3 of his brothers. Strangely, it hasn't been published here. The leading faction is not informal socialists, Lib Dems, or reformers. Leading faction is not informal socialist, liberal Democrats. There's no point in doing this. Life would not have been better under the whites. Well, certain of the whites. Especially the first white movement, which managed to shoot itself in the foot remarkably well. Honestly, if it weren't for the whites, for the anarchist movement in Ukraine, the whites would have won. Or at least managed to get to Moscow. And possibly St. Petersburg, possibly. And considering the state of the whites at the time, that would have definitely been also terrible. I'm not sure if it would have been worse than the Bolsheviks. Though probably. So, or at least the strength of the radical opposition is remaining extremely low. Our legal practice has a long history of various anti-state crimes. Without delving too far in the past, one immediately recalls Article 58 of the Russian Republic Criminal Code, which became infamous during the long Stalinist period. This article established criminal liability for counter-revolutionary activities aimed at undermining the foundations of the socialist system, which, considering the Bolsheviks, means anything undermining their power. From the 30s to the 50s, all political crimes were prosecuted under this article. After the enunciation of the personality cult, the article was significantly revised. The new criminal code included Article 70 on anti-Soviet agitation and propaganda, and Article 191 on spreading knowingly false fabrications defaming the Soviet state and social system. The political articles became less harsh, shifting the focus from undermining the state system to spreading false information. Now, as our political landscape rapidly evolves, there is a growing need to revise the criminal code. Some politicians propose completely removing political laws from the criminal code, as they contradict the principle of pluralism. However, would such a step undermine the stability of the state? Other politicians suggest looking to the experience of West Germany. The German criminal code, in a democratic country, contains a set of articles restricting the activities of radical and unconstitutional political movements. Completely repeal the article. I'm fine with the increase of civil activity. Just need to be careful that the special services remain loyal. New Old Anthem. Our country is in an active state of change. Many political figures claim that the current state symbols no longer correspond to the ideological demands of society. Extensive discussions are underway about the anthem. A current political pluralism has led to a clear polarity of opinions in the issue regarding in the public regarding this issue. The most radical communists propose returning to the Internationale, which was the official anthem until 1943. Stalin supporters demand the restoration of the undeservedly removed references to Stalin. We're not doing that. The Liberal Republic insists on the de-ideologicalization of the anthem, removing references to Lenin, communist ideology, and the party's leading role in the country. Instead, they propose adopting the patriotic song by the great Russian composer Mikhail Glinka. However, the text of the anthem has yet to be agreed upon. Some in the Democratic Republic propose returning to the de facto anthem of the February Revolution, "Workers Must Sign." There's the music. Do we have the songs in here? Oh, that would be nice. I don't see "Workers Must Sign." Great, I won't be able to play the song, but here's the Internationale. There are also citizens nostalgic for the imperial glory of Russia. I believe it necessary to restore the Tsar's anthem. Restore the Internationale. In the translation by A. Coates as the anthem. Not all political forces appreciate the change, but that's their problem. Refuse. I wish they would stop scheming around. When I get it, it makes them more active individuals in the politics of the country. Still extremely annoying. How's inflation looking? Okay, I can lower refinancing to 0, to 9%, which gives me the maximum amount of benefits. I'm leery about lowering it any lower because I'd rather not accumulate inflation. Okay. What to do with the extra money? Oh, inflation's rising. Great. Fine. Stick to 10 for the refinancing rate. Okay. Right. Dual purpose crop breeding, which will allow me to continue working on boosting agricultural power. Just need to be careful that the modifier. Yeah. Public initiatives during Perestroika. Representatives of the informals propose organizing an all-union conference of public clubs. However, organizing such a large-scale event faces a number of difficulties. A significant part of the party, on the one hand, supports the idea of civic activism, the spirit of Perestroika, but on the other hand, it fears that the conference might get out of control and become a platform for criticizing the regime. Oh, it's absolutely worth it. Support organization of the conference. For several days, an informational dialogue event called Public Initiatives During Perestroika was held at the Novotur House of Culture in Moscow under the auspices of the Cheremushkinsky and Sevastopolsky district party committees. Karma General Secretary. Representatives of 50 clubs from 12 cities took part in the event. Participants actively discussed key socio-political issues and social initiatives that could contribute to the current development of Perestroika. As a result of the discussions, a decision was made to create an all-union organization, the Federation of Socialist Public Clubs. It included such well-known associations at the time as Community, the Social Initiatives Clubs, Perestroika, Alternative, and several other organizations. However, the event did not pass without incident. A representative of the Democracy and Humanism Club, Valeria Novodorska, in her emotional speech, called on participants not to disperse and declare the current session the Constituent Assembly of Russia. Her radical proposal did not receive support from the majority present and preferred a more cautious and constructive approach to solving public issues. That's fine, if there's a couple more liberal Democrats in. Thankfully, there's still no National Democrats. The most increases come from, of course, the informal socialists. Three of the new characters are informal socialists, one is a liberal democrat. Not available under Soviet terms. Great, so the neo-Stalinists are unbanned. Lovely. I was hoping that wouldn't happen, but apparently... Sumgait is a city north of Baku, a center of Azerbaijan's oil refining industry, and all of the USSR's oil refining industry. About 160,000 people lived here, including 20,000 Armenians, most of which were from Nagorno-Karabakh. A significant portion of the city's population consists of Azerbaijani youth who have come from rural areas for work, leading to an increase in crime. As soon as the socioeconomic situation in the country began to deteriorate, local extremists, supported by the city's authorities, started spreading anti-Armenian sentiments. The leadership ignored the problem. As a result, an inter-ethnic conflict erupted. Mass rallies under the slogan "Death to Armenians" escalated into a massacre of the city's Armenian population, carried out with exceptional cruelty. Now, Sumgait is in flames, and armed mobs of 200 to 250 people are roaming the city, slaughtering people of non-Azerbaijani nationality. Crush the riots with force. We are not. I am not allowing a genocide under my watch. Attempted or otherwise. Yeah, definitely gonna deal with this. So. Olympics 88. The next Summer Olympic Games are about to take place in South Korea, the capital city, Seoul. However, some socialist countries, including Cuba, Albania, Nicaragua, North Korea, Vietnam, Ethiopia, have announced a boycott of the Games in protest against the Games being held only in the southern part of the Korean peninsula. That was well done. Ah, I won. Excellent. State Peace and Development Council. Since gaining independence, Burma has been engulfed in a bloody civil war between the government and communist insurgents. In the early 60s, General Ne Win came to power, proclaiming the Burmese way to socialism as a state ideology. The ruling party became the Burma Socialist Program Party, but real power in the country remained in the hands of the military. During Ne Win's rule, it was not possible to stabilize the economic situation or achieve peace. Several months ago, the country was swept by massive unrest and protests in support of democratization, led by Aung San Suu Kyi, the daughter of Burma's first communist leader, Aung San. The government was forced to make concessions and announced elections. However, amid the turmoil, the military seized power. Great. The ruling party was transformed into the National Unity Party, and protests were brutally suppressed. Nevertheless, the military still announced the creation of a Constitutional Commission to prepare for elections. Most experts predict a victory for the National League for Democracy, although it appears that the military has no intention of peacefully relinquishing power. Special forces isn't strong enough, so I'll just condemn the coup. Yep. HIV outbreak. For a long time, it was believed that AIDS was a disease of capitalist, impoverished African countries, a product of military and genetic engineering, artificially created in American laboratories. Really? But now the disease has reached our country. An HIV outbreak has occurred in one of the military units where conscripts were serving. According to the investigation, the patient zero was a Soviet citizen who contracted the virus while on a business trip to Tanzania. Upon returning home, he had sexual contact with 25 conscripts. 25? What are they doing? Who, after demobilization, dispersed across the country. Lovely. Great. Urgently allocate funds for building specialized hospitals. Public outcry over the incident has led to the spread of ideas denying the existence of HIV or claiming the virus is part of a global conspiracy. Some people are refusing blood donations and medical services altogether. Must I say anything about time is a flat circle or something? At least I'm in a decent position to deal with it, I think. From investments in the healthcare system, from improvements, from investments into imported medicines, from investments into social expenditures plus 21. Okay, I definitely need to start increasing investments into there. How's the environment looking? Ecology. Oh, that's bad. I need to start increasing investment into ecology. Into environmental support. Maybe decreasing agriculture. So how's inflation doing? Okay, can I actually lower it to this? Maybe. Okay, in the Soviet Union there exists an ethnic group known as the Volga Germans, more than 2 million people. Until 41, they even had their own national territorial autonomy in the form of the Volga German ASSR. However, at the very beginning of the Great Patriotic War, the Soviet leadership, fearing that Germans who had lived on Russian soil for generations might remember their roots and side with Hitler, deported them to Kazakhstan and abolished their autonomy. Yeah, sounds about right. Despite the lifting of some restrictions in '56 and an attempt to create a German autonomy in Kazakhstan in '79, a final decision regarding the status of the Volga Germans was never made. Now with central authority weakened, they have begun to self-organize under the All-Union Society revival, demanding restoration of their rights, the return of their people to Russia, and the re-establishment of their autonomy in the Volga region. However, this risks promoting strong discontent among the local population. We should reconsider the possibility of creating an autonomy in Kazakhstan, or take another approach, offering the Volga Germans unrestricted migration to Germany. Uh, let's leave for Germany. The right one. Oh, that will damage my economy too much. Restore the autonomy in the Volga region. Oh, so the US presidential election is coming in. There are two main candidates, Republican and current Vice President Bush, successor to both the domestic and foreign policies of Reagan, and Dukakis, governor of Massachusetts, known as a technocrat and a supporter of internal policy liberalization, the expansion of progressive economic reform in the entire country. Polls show a significant lead in favor of Bush. It's probably going to be Bush, isn't it? Oh, so we've got a Democrat in office. Ah. Liberal progressivism. Today, the 19th session of the Palestinian National Council in Algiers, PLO chairman Yasser Arafat officially proclaimed the independence of the state of Palestine within the 1967 borders. Doing so, by declaring independence, the PLO effectively renounced the principle of non-recognition of Israel as a state. A few months earlier, in July, King Hussein of Jordan officially renounced territorial claims to the West Bank, severing administrative and legal ties with the territory. What will be the USSR's response? Recognize the independence of Palestine. The Internet. Ah. Modifier influence of Americanism will be increased by 3. That might cause problems. But hey, I've got fast neutron reactors now, so... I wonder what they're going for first. Mass introduction of GMO crops. Okay. This will be a bit costly, but hey, this will further improve issues with the labor shortage. Put this here, that will be gone. So. Oh, that's why it's worsening. Okay. Yeah, I need to deal with conscription in the army. So. Except, I need 300. Oh. Yeah, that might actually be an issue. I'm not sure if I can finagle things enough for that. How much? time. Okay. Earthquake in Armenia. Oh. Allocate funds. Of course, that's pretty bad since financial reserves are down. Increase prices for goods. This is not a good thing, but yeah, I need more reserves. Build up this time. The rise of nationalism in the Soviet Union has led to the resurfacing of unresolved national issues. One of the most prominent points in this matter is the NKAO, an Armenian populated territory within Azerbaijan. It has just been reported that the regional authorities have decided to secede from Azerbaijan and join Armenia, a move that has been supported by the Supreme Soviet. This decision was not coordinated with the authorities of the Soviet Union or Azerbaijan, and it only worsened the already tense situation. The conflict has led to a sharp rise in nationalist and militaristic sentiments in both republics. There are people already declared to go to war with each other, but are we ready to allow such a development? Deploy the troops and try to establish direct control. This will be the second outcome, right? No, the first outcome. Things went well. Okay. Oh. God. Keeping things under control is for the best. Keep the Panem peaceful. Okay, at the very least, since it wasn't, I can finagle things. I could go all the way back, that's for sure. Let's try loading from here. See if a different set of decisions can lead to a different outcome. Okay, I don't have a financial crisis anymore. Good. Okay, so without that, as long as I avoid a financial crisis, things won't fall apart. Okay, solidarity. There are heated debates in Poland over the possible legalization of the anti-communist trade union Solidarity, which was banned back in '82. This trade union currently operates illegally in Poland, sharply criticizing the current government, which adheres to an alliance with the Soviet Union. It unites people of all kinds of views: nationalists, liberals, believers, anarchists, anyone. What should we do? It's about the rehabilitation of the union and its leaders. Today it was legalized. It received state registration as a trade union socio-political organization. Yep, okay. Yeltsin wants to remove Yazov. Oh. Set food aid. German-German relations. However, after a series of serious confrontations that culminated in the Berlin crisis and the global détente in the 70s, the radical positions of the GDR and FRG towards each other have shifted to a more peaceful stance. In '81, West German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt even visited the GDR. It is at this time that the idea of a reciprocal visit emerged. However, increasing tension in the relationship between the Soviet Union and the US, as well as a change in power in the FRG, disrupted these plans. Recently, the media in both Germanys reported that the chairman of the State Council of the GDR Honecker, would soon make this visit. In the following 3 days, newspapers published letters from workers expressing approval of this decision. Simultaneously, it was announced that the State Council has passed laws abolishing the death penalty, creating a court of appeals within the Supreme Court, and introducing a broad amnesty, including for political prisoners. We must either approve the trip or use some method to influence him to cancel the meeting between the two German leaders. Approve of the visit. Armenia's still fine. Oh Oh, this again. Things are kept under control, at least for now. Press law. Soviet media has long been subject to party and state control. Despite some progress and reforms, we still do not have a separate legal act regulating the creation and operation of media. In the mid-70s, we signed the Helsinki Agreement, which, in addition to the principle of the inviolability of borders in Europe, also enshrined basic human rights, including freedom of speech. In this regard, we must finally formulate the basic principles of media operation in our country based on the Helsinki Agreements and other international documents. Can't pick this one since there's not enough informal socialists and reformers. So how's the press law changed? That will improve economy, though that will cause a negative impact on my political authority. New PM of Yugoslavia. I can't support anyone. Right now it's inconsistent what will actually end up happening. It's possible that the new Yugoslavists will come in. Oh. So the old Yugoslavists are sticking around. Okay. Oh. Returns to practice meant suppressing the... However, the reform course increasingly resembled full-fledged shock therapy wrapped in the language of workers' self-management. I can't wait to see how awfully that's gonna go. Memorial emerged in '87 as an initiative aimed at commemorating the victims of Stalinist repressions. Its founders were well-known human rights activists, dissidents, historians, and other public figures. Recently, the founding Congress was held, where the main directives of work were defined, collecting and systematizing information about the repression, legal support for victims. I would, but I don't have the political authority points for this. So I'm just going to maintain a policy of non-intervention. Can't do anything to... They can handle it without us. Okay, they're still in the Warsaw Pact, so that's good. Okay. End to nuclear testing and closing all nuclear test sites in order to ensure the safety of the population. Yep. Sure, why not? I don't care the military leadership doesn't like it. Statistics. What's the power of the services sector? Because I know the military-industrial complex is pretty strong. That's agriculture. Secret protocols. Yeah. There's only one option. Declassify and condemn the pact. Yep. The Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact. The Baltics are gonna start looking bad. They're nothing, they can handle it. Expand the rights of the republics. Problem is I'm at negative 100, which means I can't go any lower. They're just looking pretty bad too. I should have plenty of things to a lot of things, but I don't. I need more money, so I need to increase the services sector, which seems to be, for now, the best way to handle things. Abkhazia is an autonomous republic within Georgia. However, this status does not satisfy the nationalist-minded part of their intelligentsia and population, who demand Abkhazia's secession from Georgia. First, a gathering of 30,000 people took place in the village of Lekhin, where a proposal for secession was put forward, and then clashes broke out, which gradually escalated into mass riots and an inter-ethnic conflict, further fueled by Georgian nationalists. The situation is tense and further exacerbated by the fact that the Abkhaz have long ceased to be the majority in the autonomy. Almost half the republic's population are Georgians who oppose secession. The other half of the residents is not a monolith either. Russians, Armenians, and Abkhazians themselves live in Abkhazia in equal proportions. Suppress the riots. Oh geez, what happened to my economy? In the literary circles and among the entire creative intelligentsia in general, there's been a growing sentiment in recent months in favor of civil and social rehabilitation of Tskhinvali. The reversal of repressive measures taken against him, expulsion from the writers' room, stripping of Soviet citizenship, and exile from the country. There's also been increased pressure to resume publication of his work, including the Gulag Archipelago, a so-called artistic exploration of the camp life in the USSR. Sure. Restore citizenship. Now, what happened to the budget? After the Red Army of Georgia occupied the territory, the Ossetian people found themselves divided between two republics. The northern part ended up in Russia, while the southern part remained in Georgia as an autonomous region. They had the right to speak and study in their native language, yet the authorities did everything possible to hinder this. Amid a political crisis in Georgia's leadership, the authorities of South Ossetia attempted to elevate their status to that of an autonomous republic. This just demand was negatively received by the authorities, by the Georgians, and sparked an inter-ethnic conflict. The leader of Georgian nationalists led an armed mob of 10,000, which, riding buses, marched towards the regional capital. If you do not take urgent measures, when this gang reaches the city, a terrible massacre will occur. Block all roads. Student protests in China. In mid-April, student unrest began in China. On Tiananmen Square, the main square of Beijing, mass rallies were organized in memory of Wu Yaobang, a recently deceased leader of the liberal wing of the CCP. Students and other dissatisfied citizens protested against corruption, illicit business dealings, and the party apparatus, as well as for the democratization of government bodies. The protest lasted for more than a month, and the people showed no intention of dispersing. Oh wow, they've actually successfully democratized. Congratulate China on its democratic transformations. Today, the newspaper Pravda publishes a major editorial titled Dramatic Changes in China and the Position of the USSR, in which the new Chinese leadership is congratulated on democratic reforms that will undoubtedly strengthen and improve the social system. The Chinese comrades expressed satisfaction with the Soviet decision. It'll be fine. Intervision is a pop song contest founded by the International Radio and Television Organizations. It is held in Sopot, in Poland, from 77 to the early 80s as part of 4 international song festivals. The contest introduced many new names to a wide audience, including the group Boniem. It was last held in 1980. We can try to revive it after its pause due to instability and the introduction of martial law in Poland, or we can try to apply for participation in the Eurovision contest. I don't have the diplomatic mind to do that. Sure, why not revive the festival? I've got spare money for the moment. Span the rest of the republics again. A significant Polish minority resides in the eastern regions of Lithuania. These areas were part of the Vilnius region, which was transferred to Lithuania under the Soviet-Lithuanian Treaty of 1939 in exchange for the redeployment of 5 Soviet military bases in the country. Before that, the region was part of Poland, but after the start of World War II, its eastern territories came under Soviet control. Now, according to intelligence reports, discussions among the Lithuanian elites reveals dissatisfaction with the central government's policies. Some even suggesting secession from the USSR. Displeased with Lithuanian separatism, the Polish minority demands national territorial autonomy. Right, I'm gonna pause this here for the moment. Things are going somewhat well, though I don't have the political power to do anything, which is not fun. Yeah. I need to deal with conscription of students, but I can't do that now. It's too late. I don't have the political authority to do the decision, which takes a lot. I should have done it sooner, if I'm being honest. Cannot accept. I need 300 political authority points, and I don't have that many. I need to spend more money, but I don't have much money. Anyway, I'll stop here for now. Things are good. I haven't been checking on the civil wars, but it does seem that the government is winning in Afghanistan. Situation stable in Angola. How about Nicaragua? It looks like Iraq's winning over here. Ethiopia. Governments was losing. Yeah, it is definitely not this contested. How about Somalia? Anyway, I think that's going to be enough for this session. I'll come back in a bit and do the next one. Oh! China has also started democratizing, which is nice. I've congratulated them for it, although it does seem that things have been going poorly again. Political authority is gonna be stuck low for a while, isn't it? At least a lot of statistics, some statistics seem to be improving. Trying my best to keep consensus unity up, but it is troublesome. Yeah, I think I can reduce subsidies in agriculture. I'll redirect some of the money towards the services sector, because that one is extremely helpful in income gain. I'm gonna keep the rest of the balance up for now. Alright, I'll see you again next time. Till then, bye. I really am spending too long on this.